If you're a middle-aged man who's had a difficult relationship with money and want to know whether you're slowly going bankrupt, you're in the right place. What are the signs that indicate your bank balance is more likely to decrease rather than increase? And what do you need to do in order to avoid it? Watch the complete video to find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Breaking Broke. Before we delve into the reasons which make a financially sound individual become broke, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more similar content. Let's dive in. What follows are 5 reasons why most people become broke, and if you don't want to be like most people, all you have to do is avoid these financial mistakes. Let's dive in. Number 1. They don't have clearly defined financial goals. Financial goals are the starting point for every action you make with your money. In other words, when you set financial goals, you're guiding your future financial decisions. They give you a financial direction and a sense of purpose. Additionally, without them, your financial life will lack accountability. For example, if you decide you want to save $10,000 this year, you have to measure every spending decision you make between now and then against the following question. Will this help or hinder my efforts to save $10,000? Honestly, a simple question like that can be the difference between impulse spending and frugal living. In fact, we would go as far to say that little questions like that can be the difference between being broke or wealthy. Number 2. They don't have a budget. One of the main reasons most people are broke is because they don't live on a budget. In fact, according to a recent study by US Bank, only 41% of Americans stick to a budget. And without a budget, how are you supposed to know when you're getting off track in your finances? Budgeting allows you to plan, track, and analyze your spending habits. It is your well-paved path to your financial goals. Number 3. They don't track their spending. Part of the reason most people are broke is that they don't track their spending. But that defeats the entire purpose of a budget. If you don't track your spending, it's easy for money to slip through your fingers. Then, before you know it, you're broke and don't even know why. I like to think of tracking your spending like parenting. Little kids have a tendency to wander off, so what do you do as a parent? Keep track of them. Well, the same goes for your money. If you don't pay close attention to your spending habits, money has a way of wandering off. Whether it's at the grocery store, retail stores, or restaurants, you need to keep track of your spending. Otherwise, you will find yourself wondering what happened to all that money you had. Number 4. They use too many forms of payment. The more complexity you add to your finances, the harder personal finance becomes. If you'll indulge me for a second, I'd like you to imagine a world with no credit cards or access to borrowing money. Everybody would have to pay cash for everything they wanted to buy. Can you imagine how simple that would make your finances? The more loans and credit cards you introduce to your finances, the more complicated everything gets. Before you know it, you're spending money on 6 different credit cards with different balances. Then, in order to pay all of those things, you have to log into separate accounts. And since each account carries a different interest rate and posts transactions at different intervals, it's incredibly difficult to know exactly how much money you have and how much money you owe. It's a very messy way to run your finances, and it often leads to terrible spending habits and financial mistakes. Meanwhile, if you only use a debit card to make purchases, you can log into one account and know exactly how much money you have. This makes tracking your spending significantly easier, and budgeting as a whole a more enjoyable process. Number 5. They base their financial decisions on cash flow. On top of the most common financial mistakes you can make is to base whether or not you can afford something on how much the monthly payment will be. For instance, if you want to purchase a new car, I can afford the monthly payment, therefore I can't afford it. Meanwhile, a wealthy mindset would be, I can't afford this car because I can't pay for it outright. If you base your purchases on the cost of the monthly payments, whether there's interest or not, it's easy to end up broke. Why? Because eventually you will max out your income with monthly payments, and the worst part is, you will be locked into those payments for months or years. Basing your purchases on cash flow and monthly payments is like slowly sentencing yourself to financial prison. If you really want to improve your money management skills, then we advise you to take heed from these tips. For more similar content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. See you next time.